What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Submission Fishing Live. Glad you guys could all join us. Muto here. I'm your host. Refresh the background. Be here for some fishing conversation. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. Congratulations to all the Spotty Ball participants making it to the playoffs. I know I've been there. It's not easy. And even playoffs is harder. It's a playoff competition now. Totally different ball game. But yeah, long season, guys. So all you guys that like stuck out Spotty Bowl, congratulations. Man, it's a big commitment. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we got a decent show for you guys today. Basically, we'll talk about. I just tell you guys about my trip, like to the wall. We'll explain the wall, what the wall is. Most of you guys, if you're from Southern California, you'll understand what I'm talking about. You've either fished there or you've heard of it up there in Long Beach. So yeah, we'll go over that. Um, Go over some charter stuff, look at some numbers, and the usual. Answer your questions, all that good stuff. See, we got in the house today. Jesse from Oos, welcome to the show. Hailing from Orlando for iCast. Yep, that's going on. I have that in my news story as well. That's awesome. Spinning Rod Rebel Marvin, welcome to the show. Cave Dog, glad you could join us. Oos. Multiple oos, 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 oos. Cave Dog, welcome. Let's see. Jeremy, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Christian, David Chrisman, I should say. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Salty Dangler, oos, welcome back. Leonard, how you doing, man? Hope everything's good. Glad I could see you. Benjamin, Tom Cobb Moreno, Butter Knife Benji Moreno from Arizona. How you doing, Benji? Glad you could join us. 120 today. Yeah, man. Bullhead, Arizona. That's no joke. I went out there last year, or no, I think actually maybe it was the year before I went out, and we went out in July. My dad lives out there, and yeah, it was like 123 degrees. That's like, dude, that's just like next level heat. People. I grew up in. I didn't grow up. I grew up in the mountains, but I lived in Palm Springs area for about 6 years before I moved out here to San Diego. So I went from the mountains to the desert, and it would get hot too, like that. Probably not like 120s hot, but it would still get in like 115 and stuff. But 100 degrees is one thing, and even 90 degrees. But yeah, once you start getting into like that, I don't know what it is. Once you get in that 110, 120, it's just like blasphemy heat, man. It's biblical. It's like some reason you think it's hot. Oh, it's over 90. Anything over that is the same. But man, you start getting into that 110, 120 range. It's a totally different world. So stay cool. Hopefully your AC is cranking. Doug Rubin, El Sueño Us, welcome to the show. Good to see you. Nick Jones, welcome. Just got off work. Yeah, glad you could join us, dude. Welcome to the program. Let's see here. News-wise. Yeah, just like Jesse was saying, he's at iCast. iCast is going on. I believe it's the 11th. It's almost over. I think tomorrow is the last day. So as you guys that don't know, iCast is like the big show. Out here we have the Bart Hall show, and then we have PCS. That's the one I went to. It was a pretty good trade show. And iCast is like, it's held in Orlando, Florida, and really iCast is like the national show. It's not just where our show is kind of like more local. Even though you get some international players and stuff show up, but iCast is sort of like CES, in the electronics industry. Like iCast is like the big fishing show, kind of that goes down. A lot of it's a place where a lot of people announce like new products, stuff like that, and new reels. I don't know. So Kevin out there, Kevin Nakata, our own Kevin, my man reps my fishing stuff. So he's there with Baits reels. So you guys don't know, he does reps the Baits fishing reels. They're like the aluminum reels. They got a new one coming out. So he's been in Orlando, um, I think since the beginning, but he's been in Florida for a couple weeks. So Kevin's been gone. He's been traveling, and he's kind of gone around the country. I don't know if you guys follow his Instagram. He's been hitting like he went to New Mexico, then he was in Texas. He's just been fishing along the way, trying to get new accounts and stuff like that. So yeah, he's been in Florida for a little while now, and he's down there in Orlando. So if you guys want to check out his channel, you can see he's got some updates on the Baits reels and stuff. So Jesse, he also works for G Loomis, so he's there as well. That's cool. I mean, that's a cool thing. I'll probably be. Hopefully, I'll have a booth there next year. This year was not really ready for it, but we got PCS under our belt this year, and yeah, I'm really hoping we can definitely get out there next year and make some magic, make some jigging love, make some people some believers. Let's see who else we got in here. The worst part of doing HVAC, one of the ACs is on working. Oh, working when the job is over. Yeah, dude, I didn't think about that. That always happens, man. It's like whenever you're in like a trade, anybody that like works in trades, your job's never done. It's like somebody always needs something from you. Sameka Sports shows. Yeah, it is for sure. So it's cool. I haven't really checked up on it too much, just the updates I've been getting from Kevin, but yeah, it's definitely going down. Yeah, and then if you're working on the AC, you probably don't get any air conditioning either. You're stuck outside on the roof or on the side of the house fixing the condensers, man. I told you that's no joke. Let's see what else we got here. So we got. Sorry, I got my notes on my phone. If you guys remember the trip I went on, we went on the Royal Hookup trip. Corey King, he's in here in the chat a lot of times too. He put on um, his fishing charter that he does apparently every year, and I got to sponsor it this year, so it was really cool. We got to fish a lot of our jigs. But anyways, we did a day and a half, did a lot of fishing, but he has a company from Utah come in, and they actually work for one of the um, TV channels out there. I think it's like a local channel thing, and they were filming over the last couple days on the boat. So they did a bunch of interviews for the people catching the fish. I know he was talking to like Kevin and stuff like that. So what's cool is their TV show is actually going to go premiere, I think, this Saturday, and I'll put a link for you guys in the thing. Yeah, so it's KS LTV, and that's up in Utah, and they're gonna have a whole recap. So if you guys are interested in what goes on some of these trips and stuff, if you haven't been on a day and a half, or you're looking for like a multi-day trip and you're not really sure, check this out. It was a really good experience. This boat was a little different because most people, it was the Pacific Queen, but the trip was a little different because most people knew each other. Um, it was a pretty tight knit group, so that was pretty cool too, and that always helps. So um, sometimes you go on these charters and you might know one or two people, and then the rest are kind of like strangers and stuff like that, but you get to meet them along the way. So I just thought it was cool. I met the camera guys and the producers and stuff, and I think they got out some fish. They were looking for some of those big tuna, and he finally got to pull on one, and yeah, it was really cool. So if you guys want to check that out, I think you can get the show on the app. Um, I don't think you're gonna get the channel here. Let me double check. But yeah, you guys can check it out. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to it. So that's coming up. If you guys have any interest, maybe some learning, um, definitely some learning opportunities into the fishing as well. Yochinator Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Hope you've been fishing. Been hitting the bait barge or what? I haven't been seeing uh those bass pictures. Oh, Loomis won best new saltwater rod with the NRX plus inshore. It's a hella sweet rod if you have the money for it. I'll have to check that out, man. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, everybody's out there hunting for those iCast awards. That's for sure. You always see the companies put them on their websites and stuff. So it's a big deal for sure. That's awesome, man. That's totally awesome. Let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, the submission at sea, guys. So if you guys haven't heard, I'm doing a charter August 5th, and we got about 9 spots left. So there's 30 spots on the boats. We've only got about 9 places left. And if you want to go on the trip, I recommend that you get it sooner rather than later because we need a shirt size. On the 20th, we have to get the shirt orders in. Typically, we have a lot of time, or not typically. Like last year, we had a couple months, before the trip. This one's come up pretty quick. I know I dropped it on you guys with only about a month's notice. But in order to get the shirts made, because they're custom made shirts, I don't have like a ton of them on hand. We get the sizes per individual and people. So we've got to get the shirt order into our printing guy by the 20th so he can have them ready. Basically for the trip. So if you want to be guaranteed to have one of the shirts, we'll still sell the tickets after. But I think by like the 19th, you got to kind of give us your size so we can give him the size, get the shirts ordered, and then have enough made. And we'll probably do, I'll probably get like some larges and extra larges made for people that like sign up afterwards. But if you guys like want to get one of the shirts that's guaranteed to fit, make sure you get your order in ahead of time on that. Found a different spot. Well, man, share the news. Tell us those secrets. Yeah, so check that out as far as the shirt goes. Also, we have Afrin is coming on, so Warbaits is going to sponsor the trip as well. So thank you, Warbaits. They'll be part of the package, of the giveaways and stuff like that. So Afrin will be on the boat. So it'll be pretty cool. We're going to have myself will be on there for submission fishing. We're going to have Simon Apodaca from Taipan Rods will be on the boat, and Afrin from Warbaits, he'll be on the boat as well. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. A lot of people you can pick their brains with, and you guys want to talk rods, go hit up Simon. He's going to have, and he's making us a rod too. So he's going to have a rod and some custom stuff there. And even some of the prizes we're going to have, guys, are kind of unique one-off prizes. I know he's making like some carbon fiber hats, like submission fishing, cross taipan hats that we're going to do the giveaways for and stuff. So it'll be cool. If you guys got the opportunity or the means, I should say, to go, definitely do it. I know it kind of conflicts with the pickle run. So if you're not going on the trip, definitely check out the pickle run, guys. That's a how should I say this? It's a trip that these guys do on the kayaks. I've been on it last 2 years. Last year I went on my boat, but we launched from Mission Bay and they go all the way down to San Diego Bay. It's like a 12-mile trip. Usually takes all day. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun, a lot of work, a lot of exercise. But yeah, if they haven't moved that, definitely check that out. I think it'll be cool. If you can't make the submission at sea, I know it's kind of dividing. Brian likes to fish. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Can't make it this year. I'll be out of the country. Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, you went on the pickle run last year, right? Yeah, that was cool. Just looked up 700 for the rod. $700. Dang, yeah, that's no joke. Oh, they're only 625 before tax. Not $700. Come on, Salty. Don't get it twisted. What they put it in, is it like gold carbon or something like that? Gold flake, gold paint? Or is it just like a super technological masterpiece? I'll have to check those out. Definitely give it a look. So yeah, if you guys are thinking about going, definitely hop on there. I know a lot of you guys from the show are already going, so it should be cool. Yeah, I think that was it as far as announcements and stuff go. Yeah, gold carbon fiber, like woven into the thing. You ever? This is like totally off off topic, but you know how, like, you ever watch those shows where they're like, oh, the world's like most expensive dessert, and it's just like a chocolate sundae, but the only thing different is like they just add like gold leaf and diamonds to it, or it's like, oh, the world's most expensive piece of chocolate. The only thing that makes it expensive is like half the bar is like gold, or it's like, and you can't even eat like the gold part of it, or they like sprinkle diamonds like on the top. They're like, oh, the world's most expensive sundae. You're like, that's not really a sundae. That's what I thought of with the gold carbon rod, where it's like they weave gold into the carbon, but then you can't even use it because it makes it too brittle. But like, it's expensive because it's got gold in it. And I used to hate those shows. I haven't seen those in a while. But Corey King, welcome to the show. Just missed it, man. I was just talking about your trip, giving them the link to the TV show that's coming up. You guys killed it too on your last trip, man. I saw that. Pacific Queen again. You're not messing around with those tuna, man. You're killing them this year. Congratulations on that. Also, thumbs up for catching them on the ogre. And I saw those pictures. I love to see it, dude. I don't know, Salty. He's disputing the cost on the. Jesse's telling us 625. Salty's telling us 700. Talk about the G Loomis rods. We'll get to the bottom of it. Then you guys let me know. Jesse, you get to the bottom of it. You let us know. So yeah, guys, don't wait on the submission at Sea Tickets. 9 left. And if you want a shirt, get in before the 20th. It's gonna be a good trip. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, we'll just get right into it. Get a little fishing report for you guys. So I went out to, you guys know, anybody in here in Southern California knows, they've heard of the wall or they know the wall. If you're not familiar with it, The wall is basically it's a seawall. It's a break wall that's put up all across Long Beach, and I forget how many miles it's a lot. It was like 6 or 9. I don't remember the mileage about what it was. Lane told me. But basically, it's this break wall, and it pretty much protects the harbor there. But the whole like section of Long Beach, it's where like a lot of the tankers and stuff come in. So a lot of commerce is there. Mostly all of your, I know my stuff gets dropped there at Newport before it gets shipped out. Most of your TVs, everything. It's a huge port, huge consumer port for like imports and stuff like that. So if you guys have never seen just like all the tankers there, it's interesting. Um, it's really like an interesting bay because everything is it's super industrialized and commercial. You know, the bays we have out here, like Mission Bay is pretty much all recreational, right? It's um, jet skis, it's boat rentals. People launch boats there. A lot of times, people are just there going to have fun. There's tons of beaches, barbecues. They have the weddings along the side, and even San Diego Bay. San Diego Bay, I think, is a little more people. There's like people living in the boats. There's the yacht club, but little commercial area. But even then, it's just mostly restaurants, you know, and stuff like that, where you can fish underneath there. The harbors are there for the not the harbors like the charter harbors. H&M Landing, Fisherman's Landing is all there. Uh, Point Loma sport fishing, but you can all get into that area. There's a lot of marinas and stuff like that. A lot of Karens like to kick you out of, but Long Beach is very industrial. So I fished there once. Was it last year? I did a fishing tournament there, a spotty tournament. Got wrecked. Um, all I caught was like sand bass. I have a YouTube video if you guys want to see it. But I caught like a million sand bass, and I don't think I caught any spotties the whole day. It was a spotty tournament, I think, put on by LA Fishing Alliance. Shout out to them. They carry the submission jigs as well. Um, yeah, I just caught a ton of sand bass. But when I went there, I think I launched off Cabrillo is the area, and the start of the wall is there on the north end. But I never fished it, and I've never fished the wall personally. I've gone launched out of a 22nd Street landing there, and then the other one a little further south. So I've gone on charter boats there and gone past it, you know, a million times. I see people fish it, but I've never actually stopped to fish the break wall. But yeah, I finally got my opportunity to fish it. Lane took me out. So you guys know Lane Kilian. He's been on the show before. If not, check him out on Instagram. Great young fisherman. He works with fishing reps too. You see him a lot of my social media stuff. So he reps my product and he makes sure that I'm getting content and stuff like that. So he's been really good. And yeah, he took me out. So he's a local up there, and he fishes that place all the time. So I really got lucky. He has a little 18-foot aluminum boat. Um, he was like a 50 horsepower motor, but that thing hauls ass. And yeah, he hit me up and asked if I wanted to go up there and fish. And so I said, hell yeah. We took a weekday and went up there, and yeah, he just showed me the ropes. And it was really cool because I had never fished there, but to get the opportunity to go with somebody it's actually done it. We met up at 5 o'clock, and we started really on the outside wall. So there's two parts of the break wall. It's there's the inside and the outside. Now the inside is super calm. You can fish the whole inside of the wall that's facing the harbor or the inside or the inland, and the wall does what it does so well that inside there's not much current, there's not much movement. It was pretty still, at least when we were there. You know, the outside of the wall is a little more hairy because you have to deal with the drift, right? The wind's pushing you in, the current. That's the part of the ocean that the wall's trying to keep out or calm down. So you've got the rough part, which is kind of like the outside when you get out there is just kind of crazy, and then the inside. Of course, the outside is the better fishing, you know. Um, yeah, it was really cool. Lane took me to some of his spots. We fished. We got there early at like 5 a.m. and we fished all artificial stuff. I just fished the submission jigs, obviously, and he was pretty much fishing that too. And we fished the outside. Um, Outside is apparently where the big fish are. Now the wall is known for having really big fish. And what's interesting is like Lane was telling me that like a lot of people like they don't like the wall, right? They hate it because they don't get bit a lot of times. They go out there and they're like, oh, the wall. So it's like pretty much any place, right? There's certain zones, even like the bait barge can be like that. It's when the bait barge doesn't bite, it just doesn't bite. Like it shuts off, even though you know the fish are there. It doesn't happen. But there are times when the bait barge is on. It's like I've had some of my best fishing I've ever had out there. for sand bass was out there in the bait barge, but the bait barge isn't always popping. And apparently, kind of the wall is like that too. So some people, he was saying, like have really kind of a negative opinion about the wall because it just for them it doesn't produce, so people never fish it. But then there's other people that are just like cultish about it, like they swear by it, like it's just the greatest place to fish. Just one of those kind of divisive issues. So yeah, we fished there early. We got on the water right around like 5 a.m. We got there early, so we got to the wall quick before sunrise. And I think that was really the key because the bite was hot. Like when we first got there, we were catching, we were looking for calicos, but ironically, it was just freaking Sandbass City. Sandbass. It's the story of my life, man. Going out there to L.A. and just catching nothing but sandbass. But yeah, the wall was pretty good, and then we were getting some calicos mixed in there too, and we were fishing on the outside. Later, we pushed out. So this is what's cool about the area too, even though it's like pure industrialized. Um, I'm be dealing with this all day. Might just have to let it lapse. The Even though it's industrialized, there's fishing like just outside the harbor. So when we went and we were done with the wall because sunrise came up, so we moved. We were moving all up and down the wall, hitting the spots. Man, Lane's a wizard too. That kid can fish. He knows the points. He knows which areas are coming in, where the water's got the inlet and outlet. It was really awesome. But just outside that zone is um, they have the horseshoe kelp. So the horseshoe kelp is the zone that there was just like a ton of sport boats out there. And it wasn't that far. It was maybe like a mile off of the wall itself. So what's going on right there um, is barracuda, big barracuda. Me and Kevin went out there last year actually in June because the barracuda swim through, and we're not talking like the bay barracudas, the ones we get here. At least me personally, I haven't caught too many big barracuda in San Diego Bay. I've caught a lot, um, but I never really get like the keeper size or anything like that. There's just generally that small size. I mean, they're long. Barracuda are long. I mean, an 18 inches, no problem. But I think a legal is like got to be 28 inches or something ridiculous. I think the only legal I've really caught down here was in San Diego. I mean, La Jolla. I did catch one, but even the ones in La Jolla I catch typically are a little bit on the smaller side. So up here at the Horseshoe Kelp, right outside of Long Beach, they get these big, like just massive slime sticks. I mean, these things are huge. You can check out pictures of them. So a lot of the boats push out that way and fishing for the barracuda. Last year, me and Kevin went out there. There was like one day we were watching the reports. We were being those guys, right? We found out they were just boatloads of barracuda, these huge ones. So we went up. It was actually my birthday last year. We hopped on a boat. I think it was the Monte Carlo, but we ended up just not finding anything. There was um, really was a rough day of fishing. That's how it works, right? The day before it was good. So, anyways, the barracuda's back. Um, so we pushed out that way, made a run. Didn't really see nothing, man. The ground was pretty dry, and we talked to some people when we got back, and they kind of had the same sentiment that they were there, and I think some of the sport boats got on them when they were chumming, but yeah, it wasn't there. It was crazy because everybody was out there. I'm talking like there was probably 5 or 6 sport boats, and tons of private boats too. So that was definitely the place to be. And it's my understanding, like Lane was telling me that he used to catch, when he was a kid, they'd catch like yellowtail there and stuff. And even though it's called like the horseshoe kelp, um, like the kelp doesn't really exist. It's kind of this weird area. You can see it a little bit, like the topography of the ground. And like we were snagging on it. So sometimes you would see it come up and float, but it wasn't like, none of it was laying down. When you go to La Jolla or Point Loma, you can see the kelp. You see it from if you're on a boat, like when you're in the kelp because you can see it like all over the place. It lays down, you look down, you can see the kelp forest. But the horseshoe kelp is a thing that I guess doesn't really. It's still there's like a lot of fishing there. And I don't know if the kelp grows, but it just doesn't grow up to the surface. But I guess years ago, back in the heyday, it used to be a pretty big kelp forest. And he was saying yellowtail would come through there, pretty much on the reg, like big barracuda and yellowtail. But for whatever reason, it's still a fishy zone, even though the kelp isn't like what it used to be. Because I didn't see any kelp there, and they were calling it. They still call it the horseshoe kelp, um, even though it was pretty sparse. But yeah, we fished it. We might have pulled one or two off the bottom. We got some mackerel, obviously, but we didn't have too much luck with the barracuda, so we decided to punch back in. But yeah, if you guys are ever looking for big barracuda fishing, like that's pretty much the zone. And I know places like 22nd Street landing. They go out there. They'll do like just day trips, half day trips out to those grounds. It's pretty cool. Let's see who we got here. Anybody new? Oh, still talking about the rod. It's expensive because it's made out of super high. Oh, modalist, not the gold graphite. Modalist graphite, so super light, sensitive. It has Fuji titanium guides, Spiral X that gives it higher strength and torso. Okay, okay. We'll have to get in on that. Give me a sample, dude. I'll test it for you. I'll give you a send me a rod. I'll test it for slow pitch and give you guys a review. Salty loves the horseshoe. Yeah, you guys are pretty familiar with it, right? Because you guys know Brian and Salty, they're the SBS guys, so they end up fishing out there for SBS tournaments all the time. So yeah, the horseshoes, it's funky. It was funky for sure. The two times I fished there, I haven't had much luck, but I see the sport boats have they're getting limits, so obviously there's something to it. It's not always, but the proof's in the pudding. And if you're getting limits of barracuda, they in order to keep them, they have to be legals, which are pretty big. And I've seen the pictures too, but yeah, the horseshoes like that's been really good to me either. So, anyways, we pushed back in from the I found okay, here we go. I found some good shallow water rockfish off Cabrillo Beach, about halfway between the shore and the canyon. Car Black saying horseshoe's great. So yeah, I think that's my understanding. Like when I think it's one of those places when it's on, it's like it, it pops off and it was good. And lately, I think it has been pretty good. I mean, everybody was there. And be honest with you, we didn't give it that long of a try. We were out there maybe like 30 minutes. We kind of poked around, and then I think I feel like he's a bass guy. He wanted to go catch some. He's a calico guy. He loves his calico fishing. Um, yeah, so we didn't stay out there that long. Yeah, the rockfish. What's interesting is we found so fishing outside the wall. We actually found rockfish out there. That was pretty common in our bycatch. Obviously we weren't targeting the rockfish, but that was pretty common. They were all the same. It was all the same fish. They were like this. I don't know if it's the gopher or I'd have to look and see what one it is, but it's kind of like that brown, um, kind of brown with like white spots on it. They weren't very big. They were kind of small. They're definitely eaters if you wanted to, but yeah, there are rockfish there, which is crazy because when I think rockfish, I usually think of rockfish being super deep, but there they were, and probably way less than like 80. They were like 50 feet of water, right there at the bottom of the wall. I got some 2 to 3 pounds. Yeah, that's kind of well. We were probably getting the 1 2 pounders, but yeah, if you wanted rockfish, you could. That is definitely a viable spot to go get them. Browns. That's probably what we were finding too. That was like all we saw. We weren't fishing them exclusively, but we pulled in probably like 3 or 4. And they were that same kind of brown rockfish. So as you guys that don't know, like speaking of the wall, this is one thing that I learned is that it's not like obviously it's not a seawall where it just goes straight down. It's it extends really far out and it's shaped like a pyramid. So when you see the top of the wall, um, it goes down like a pyramid. Some of the seawalls, like when you go to what was that like Tidelands Park, for example. If you go to the shipping area there, um, and they have like it's not even a seawall, it's just like the wall that they have built in. It's like 40 feet of water in front of the wall. So it's straight up just like 40 feet of cement right there where like um the Dole fruit pineapple people go and the boats load up there. Like that whole wall just is like a sheer straight drop into like 30, 40 feet of water. And this wall is really pyramid shaped. So if you cast like on top of it, you're throwing in like a foot, 2 feet of water. And as it goes down, like a pyramid, like you could be in half of it and then you're in like 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. And then kind of that 40, 50 feet is when you've hit the bottom. And that's sort of like the magic zone. You guys know it's like you want to look for those places where the breaks are. So you don't want to be right in the wall because obviously it's not very safe. If you're in a kayak, you might be all right, but you're gonna smash your boat up pretty quick if you're thinking it's gonna be a flat wall. So it does taper out. You have to be careful with that. But that magic zone we were looking for was obviously, this is something we talk about all the time, is that canyon or the transition where there wherever there's a dip. So the structure is all there, but right where that pyramid meets the bottom of the floor, right at that triangle is kind of where the money was. Like that was the hot spot, and even maybe a few feet off of that. But the sandbass definitely, sandbass bite was good down there, and the calicos too even tended to be um, a little bit deeper, even though we could cast them into the rocks in the shallow part. But you have to reel really quick because you, man, I think I only lost one jig. As rocky as it is, and I was fishing the bottom of a lot. I think we got snagged a lot, so be prepared for that. But we got it. I'd say all but one jig, maybe two, maybe we lost two. But out of all the times we got snagged, probably like 15 times, and we were able to get it out most of the time. I think we only lost maybe one or two jigs. But yeah, it was super cool. So anyways, we pushed in, and when one thing that was, Lane took me to the zone, so we came inside. We were fishing that, so it got windy. You guys know how this goes. Southern California, the wind kicks up. This is everywhere. So we're fishing the outside. It was getting rocky. It was getting windy. He's a 18-foot aluminum boat. Um, so we chose to go. This damn thing. Maybe I just leave it off next time. So we chose to go inside the breakwall because it's sheltered now and the weather's not as good. So what's crazy is that there's actual kelp like growing inside of the bay where it's like relatively shallow. Now, the kelp inside is like normal kelp. It grows to the top, it lays down, you can see it. It was pretty thick too, but it was just like there's strips of it. So kind of where the edges and the corners of the jetties are, it seems like the inlets, there'd be like 100 feet of kelp, and it's not very big. It's narrow. It's only maybe two or three stringers, but it's pretty thick and healthy. So it was wild that you fish it just like you would normal kelp, just like you were in La Jolla, or Point Loma or whatever it is. The same rules apply. It's the same thing. Um, it was just really interesting. I've never seen kelp like in that geography before. Usually in Southern California and even further south you go, the kelp is typically, it's an offshore thing. You go outside, it's still coastal. We know that, right? Kelp only grows so deep because it needs sunlight. So kelp doesn't grow much less than, or much more really than 80 feet, because once the sunlight can't get to it, it doesn't really grow. So kelp is a shallow thing, but typically it's on the outside. So seeing it in the jetty, this would be like seeing a big kelp line like inside by, I don't know, Mission Bay. Like if you just saw one before you went into like Quivira Basin or something and just saw like this little kelp forest. Like it was really crazy to see. And we fished that, and it was sparse, but there was some good fish in there. I think probably our best fish came off of the kelp that was inside of this little bay area, like super shallow, like 30-foot kelp, 20-foot kelp. Um, I say it was probably got some of the best fish of the day. It wasn't as abundant. The wall definitely produced on the outside for us, and we fished the inside. We did fish inside of the wall, and I don't think we had really any luck. So we tried it. I got one off the corner, um, right on the edge of the jetty. Pulled one out, and then we fished the inside, and it was hit or miss. I think it was really the type of day too, like, or time of day. It was already getting late. When you hit like that at 11 p.m. to like 2, it gets really tough. But we still were able to pull some off of the kelp. But yeah, just seeing the geography of kelp laying down like in that little bay is just, it's super crazy. It's fun to hear you talk about the LA fishing. Yeah, man, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. I like seeing where you guys fish a lot, man, because I hear about the size of the fish, especially the spotties. Um, like I said, I fished there once. I did not catch the big spotties, but it was cool. I was lucky enough to go with Lane because that dude knows, he knows the fishing grounds for sure. So that was definitely an advantage. I don't know. I never took my kayak offshore. Yeah, We remember the Zuniga trip, Jesse, when you had to get towed back on your pontoon. Never forget. Old Town just released a new pedal drive kayak that has electric assist. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we have to check that out for sure. Martel, what's going on, man? Oh, you want a 6K? Yeah, that's like, man, that's more than Hobie prices. But you got to factor in the price of trolling motors too. If you were gonna get a Hobie, you're 4,500 plus, and then trolling motor, you're already in that $5,000 range or so. Yeah, you would definitely want to have that for sure. Yote says it looks pretty good. Graham, welcome to the show. Ooh, glad you could join us. Just talking some LA fishing and the zones I hit, the zones that produced. Yeah, but it was crazy. So we went inshore. So we saw this sea lion that just. I'll have a video too, guys. I'll make a YouTube video of this. I know I've been slacking on my YouTube stuff. Just been so freaking busy and crazy lately. Um, yeah, we got a lot of good footage, so hopefully I'll put that out and you guys can see what I'm talking about. We saw the sea lion. It's just like I think he got propped or something because this thing's back was just like, dude, it was shredded. That sea lion was ripped for sure, man. He was, but not in the good way. Not like he was buff. Like his back got sliced up like a roast beef. Dude, he was just swimming around like nothing happened. I don't know if that dude made it or what, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel sorry for him. I'm at war with the sea lions. Um, yeah, but then another crazy thing happened. So this was probably the most wild part of the trip. Is um, we were fishing. So this time we went way inland, right? And the fishing was good. We hit that kelp. Then we went to this back part. Again, more commercialized area. We were sort of by. I don't even really know where we were. If I had the map, I could show you. But we pushed deeper into the bay, super shallow, like 10 feet, and there was this boat floating along, and we could hear kind of like there was nobody out there. He was out there. We were like the only ones out there, and this guy was out there too. And he was like fishing. We just thought, oh, no big deal. But anyways, he was like trying to get his engine to start, and it like wasn't starting, and found out this guy was having like engine problems, and he was like drifting into. So there was like these little bridges or these inlets or something, and he was drifting there pretty fast, and he was getting into the riprap, but. And he waves us over. And we were kind of a ways away, but we can barely hear him. We can hear like the motor was trying to start. And yeah, his boat, like I guess the steering had got out. He got it started. We heard the engine running, but something apparently with his steering just crapped out. It was probably like the same size. It was like probably a 17, 18-foot boat. So he flagged us down. And it was funny because Lane was like, it's like, oh man, I wonder if this guy's having problems. Here's the thing too, because we were like, I'm not gonna lie, we were like, dude, Lane caught probably the biggest fish of the day back here on the back, right? And it's starting to get good. And this guy starts to wave us down, and we were like, oh no. The reason we say this is because it's like, you got to go help these people, right? And it was like, we really humanistically, we were just like, dude, the fish is, we don't want to help this guy, but he waved us down. We did help him. We were like, yeah, we get it. It's like, it's boating code, fisherman code. It's not like we weren't going to help him, but we were like, we had already kind of knew like, oh no, this guy's having boat trouble. He's gonna need a hand. And sure enough, he waved us down. So we go over there, and his boat was just like drifting into the rocks. He tossed us a rope, and I'm on the back of Lane's. Like he's got a 50 horsepower motor, and I'm holding onto the rope, and I'm pulling his boat out just by hand. Like I'm leaning on the back of the boat. I'm leaning on the back of Lane's boat, like tug of war with his boat. And we pulled it out. Yeah, it was crazy, but we took him all the way back. So this guy's like, dude, can you help me out? Can you get me back? My slip's on the other side. And we're like, what other side? So he was like on the other side of the Queen Mary or something like that. I don't like really know the area. I know where the Queen Mary is. I've been there, but I didn't really know where we were in relation to the thing. So we ended up towing this guy all the way back. Took us an hour and a half to get this guy. Lane's got 50 horsepower motor. He's got the heavy steering. So I tied like the rope off on. Lane had like some rail, so I tied it off, and like I'm holding it most of the time because there's nothing really tie it down so it doesn't slip. So I'm just sitting back there, and I didn't need much pressure, but like my hands on it so it doesn't fall off. And we towed this guy for like it was like probably a good hour and a half, man. getting him back there. So we finally got him in his slip. Um, but it's like we were talking to you. It's like I told Lane, I'm like, dude, I'd want somebody to do that for me, and there's probably we were there for a reason. Like this guy was in a zone where I don't know if he just drifted out there or it was probably the case. I don't know if he was fishing there, but just he had no steering and his boat was having trouble starting, so he drifted in. And we got him in, dude, all the way to like he had a slip for some reason or somebody that knew a slip. So we came down the Queen Mary and like we pushed him off the slip. It was like perfect. We launched him, he glided in, he like caught the side. Um, yeah, it was pretty cool. We got him in, but that took like a real good chunk of like kind of when that fishing was getting hot. That was like the only kind of downside. But I'm glad we got him in. The guy was super thankful, and he gave Lynn $100, dude. And we were like really didn't weren't expecting anything. Um, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'll give you," like when we were headed out there, right, he's like, "Oh, I'll give you some gas money." We are probably like, me and Lane were like, "Yeah, this dude's gonna give us like $20," but like whatever. Yeah, he hooked him up though. So Lane, he got like 2 trips worth of gas out of it. So it did pay. It paid to help him out. He was super grateful. But yeah, you guys know when you're on the water, you gotta help. You gotta help people out. So um, even if you don't want to, even if you got stuff to do, you can't abandon people. You can't abandon fishermen. You can't abandon other boats. And realistically, it's kind of a responsibility you have out on the water. It's sort of like an unwritten rule that whenever anybody needs help, it doesn't matter if it's your enemy, somebody you don't like, if somebody's sinking, if somebody maydays and somebody needs help, you go help them. I mean, that's just, I don't care if you're on a kayak or you're on a boat, you're out there in the middle of the ocean, this way you hear that a lot. It's not always conducive to get emergency services out there. It's typically it's the first boat that's within range that can help, you can help. The Coast Guard's not always around, lifeguards aren't always around, police aren't always around. By the time somebody's in trouble, a lot of times it's too late on boats. It's not like a car crash or where there's fire trucks and police and infrastructure all around and somebody can get there. This is the water, man. A boat goes down, people drown, something can crash, a lot goes wrong really quick. So um, it's just something you guys got to think about if you don't have a kayak or you're not on the water, but it's be ready to assist if you can. This you'd want somebody to do it for you if you see somebody needs help. I know this group doesn't have any problems with that. I've seen you guys help people out, pull them on board, people flipping kayaks. Yeah, never turn a blind eye to that stuff, guys. Even though we didn't want to, because like the bite, because we knew we rolled up and we're like, Lane was like, this guy's gonna need help. And we could hear the engine starting. His shirt off. He called for us, and we were kind of like, well, got to go over there. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we went bluefin fishing. Did I talk about that? I don't think so. We were when I took Brian and Salty out. We went offshore. Yeah, we ran across the sea lion just floating there, uh, and it was missing its head. Like I don't know what that about. It had been dead a while because it had freaking bird crap all over it. So these birds were just sitting on it. Head was gone, but what just eats its head and like takes off? It had no like shark bites on it or like killer whales, but yeah, that was a trippy sight, and it smelled too. So that thing had probably had been dead a while. Yeah, always help. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you have to. Salty knows law of the sea. There is no choice, man. You got to do it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were never gonna just like turn around, but like it was one of those things when we drove up, we knew we were annoyed or we were like, oh shit, because we knew we were gonna have to go help this guy. That was the thing. It was never a question of like, oh, turn around and act like you don't see him. It was just like once we heard that engine started, Lane called it. He was like, oh, we're gonna have to go help this guy. And he struggled. He didn't call us over at first. We fished that zone for like 15 minutes, and eventually he called us over. We're like, okay, we knew it was coming. We didn't bail out. We waited. We knew the whole time for sure. So I tried my 10 and 15 slow Dutch jigs for kokanee and smallmouth. Heck yeah, man. Somebody just sent me pictures. They weren't smallmouth, but somebody crushed it today. One of these kids, actually no, I think it was his tag was the mullet man, but he changed it. That dude caught like four largemouth bass in freshwater on the think they were the 15 grams, man. He was slaying it. And I'm always impressed because when people fish the freshwater stuff on these things, it's crazy. It worked though. Simon too said he was killing it over in Yuma. I guess the bass fishing's the Yuma bass fishing's fire. I guess. Can't tell you how many. Oh man, rental sailboats I've pulled off the rocks in Mission Bay. Yeah, that's crazy. Rental sailboat seems crazy. Like sailing is that's a whole nother art. Like I'm surprised they rent sailboats. You know what I mean? I know a lot of them have motors and you can motor, but like sailing isn't like I couldn't sail. If somebody was like, I could drive a boat, like no problem. But if somebody was like, hey, do you want to go sailing? I'm like, and I've gone sailing like once or twice, but I definitely couldn't help anybody. Although my garage door is phantomly opening. So now my garage door is open. I'm looking at the nice scenery out front. I see my Jeep. But I know what happened is my daughter's upstairs playing with my wife's purse and she got into the remote. 100% chance. So, all you people walking by, hi, welcome. Check out submissionfishing.com. Submission Fishing on YouTube, live show. What happened to the kayak? You can't. Yeah, that's why you won't see me in the water in my kayak again. You had a bad experience? Or you flipped? It's all good. Or at least if you go with somebody, you'd probably be pretty safe. During the SBS tournament, Brian and I almost had to rescue a parasurfer that couldn't get back on his board after showing off to a pleasure boat. Oh yeah, that guy. Maybe you let them suffer. You know what I'm saying? The hot doggers. I'm just kidding. That's what I'm saying. You got to help. You got to help regardless, even though you don't want to. Oh, the seals chased you. Yeah, man. I've had. They don't bug me too much. Sea lions, you just got to put them in their place. I had one like almost jump in my boat one time when I caught a barracuda. Roman got it on film too. I wonder if we could find that video, but it was like I'm dangling it, trying to get it off my boat, and this thing was like this dude almost like jumped in my kayak. But aside from that, I don't have problems with them too much. They try to pop up and scare you, and they try to act tough, but I've never really had too many issues. Had them pull off. It's really creepy. People are just like walking by, watching me do a live show. You probably hear the traffic of the cars going by. Maybe the garage studio wasn't such a good idea. Let me go shut this real quick. Nick saying sea lions are annoying, but in general, yeah. I mean, I've never actually heard of a sea lion like pulling somebody out or like harassing them. They're kind of a pain in the ass, but I personally haven't heard of them like ever attacking anybody or anything. I mean, now I don't care. Like I fish right up next to them. I'll go up on the bait barge and be like 3 feet from them and just fish right there. It's like I don't give a damn. But yeah, sometimes they scare you, dude, when they come up and they breathe all loud. It's crazy. I'd crap my pants is if a killer whale came by. That's the only thing I'd be like, I'm done for. Even the sharks, not too big of a deal, but you see the sharks, they don't bother me too much. But luckily, I've never seen like the killer whale. Dolphins are cool, but all that nonsense these killer whales have been pulling off lately, wrecking boats. Like you guys seen that where they've got like this group where they're going around and like tearing the props off of boats, and there's like a whole pot of them just like terrorizing boats. I don't know if it's like I feel like it's somewhere in Europe or something like that, but yeah, that's killer whale, no joke. I was lobstering with some folks last winter, and one was messing with my traps. I could see him on the live scope. Yeah, dude. Should he be the one they go after? Maybe. Yeah, we were talking about the live scope. I was talking about that last week on the show about technology and fishing. You're probably one of the few people that have the maybe the only guy I know that's got the live scope on a kayak, but that's cool. I'm glad you like it though. It's more clear with fresh water. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, anyways, I mean that was my trip, kind of to the wall. Um, my first time really fishing it um, properly without just driving by it. So shout out to Lane for taking me out there. We didn't catch any spotties. We looked for them real quick, but it was mostly just it was calicos, sand bass, and then the rockfish. But yeah, we found the calicos later, and I mean I'd say we probably had like a 30 fish day. Like, yeah, like it was decent. It certainly wasn't it wasn't an every cast thing. We never got on them like that, but and we still pulled them in. I mean, you can't argue with that. Super cool area, super industrial, super different. But I really liked it, to be honest with you. Like, I want to go back, and maybe that's just because it's new. You know, I fished San Diego Bay, Mission Bay so many times. It's like, all the same spots. So I'm kind of like, now I want to go up there to like find all these spots we passed. There's like oil islands, and we did hit those too. There's like these islands that pump oil, like in the middle of the bay, and it's crazy. It's like these three that I know of. There might be more. There's three islands with oil pumping systems on them, and we fished all around those things. Pulled a couple off of them. It was really cool. Definitely recommend. How about two killer whales that kill 17 sharks in a day and just ate the livers out? Yeah, that was probably what ate the sea lion. Killer whales are no joke, man. Like sometimes when they catch those seals and they don't even kill them, they just flip them around and play with them, hit them with their tail and send them flying. I mean, it's pretty funny, but I don't want none of that smoke. That's for damn sure. Oh yeah, dude, you're in trouble. You can't ever talk bad about the spotties. Spotties with Brian's around. Spotties are fun, dude. I mean, I don't want to fish them all the time, but like a good spotty session is like there was a time, I think it was like 2020. Nah, probably 2021 where it was like, dude, I fished spotties like all of us did. A lot of guys in this group. Dude, we fished I personally fish spotties like every weekend, probably. Not in the summer, but like most of the year it was like every weekend I fished spotties. Doing the spotty bowl thing. Yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. Spotties are great. And you can't live in Southern California and hate the spotty. It's like sacrilegious. Big fish of the day. I think it was Lane on a sand bass. We didn't weigh anything or measure. We weren't that hardcore, dude. It was like it wasn't a giant. It was definitely legal. Probably, if I had to guess, I'd say it was a 17-inch sand bass. It was probably a 4 pounder. Like it was a decent size. We caught that later. That was, and you know what's heartbreaker is that was in the zone where we had to go help the guy and then pull him out. So the biggest fish we caught was right there, and like right when the guy needed help, we caught the fish, and then the guy like flagged us down, and it was too far to go back that way, so we never made it back to the zone. But yeah, that's how it works, right? The best zone we were, but yeah, Lane knew the spots, dude. He had like every little nook and cranny like you can think of. He's like, oh, sometimes this spot has here, and then there's this spot, and the kelp over here sometimes holds Z fish. I was like, this is the guy. These are the guys you want to go with, man, when you're fishing a new spot. I should have had my should have busted out my Navionics, started marking all the zones, burn up his spots. So what do I do if I make a video? Am I gonna have to like blur out all the backgrounds? I didn't even think about that. I'll have to ask him. I'll be like, dude, can I make this video? We didn't really catch monsters though, so maybe not. The roaches. I love it, dude. Give me some calico, sand bass, being something else, always underlined. That's funny. Damn, dude, you're gonna get burned at the stake. The roaches. I love it though. Yeah, I honestly Yeah, I'd probably rather get. I don't know. Spotties are up. Spotties have their place. I can't say one is better than the other, but I probably like calico and sand bass fishing more too. But spotties are still fun, dude. Like it's still a great time. You know what I think? This is what I think. I think spotty fishing is funner when you're like when you're with people or a group for some reason. I think fishing spotties by yourself sometimes can be like I don't know. It's not as fun. Maybe it's a little boring. I think like group fishing with spotties is like really really fun. I don't know if it's because it's like you're in such a consolidated zone and you can like bring people over to your area. I know something about that. But like when I fish by myself, I find I get kind of bored when I'm fishing spotties, even when you're like catching a ton of them. Maybe there's just nobody you can share it with or something. But like I could fish calicos. I go out to the Kelp and fish calicos by myself, and it's like I don't get that same like need to have to show somebody, I guess. But like sometimes you catch spotties, and you're like, "Oh, dude, are you around? Come check this out." That's just my opinion. That's kind of how I feel about it. They're like it's fun, fun group fish. Nick Jones, yeah, yeah, he was saying that for sure, and that is a good point. And I've heard that not just from Lane, but from a lot of people. That so that's good. That was another takeaway. Is that it's my understanding that the wall at night does pop off. Lane he fishes primarily at night. He works usually through the day. He had a day off, that's why he went out. But typically, he does fish at night as well. So I know he prefers that. And it is my understanding that the wall just like pops off at nighttime. So the fact that we did pretty well like during the day, that was pretty cool too. But yeah. And I've heard that not just from Lane, but from multiple people. Or like a lot of people that say like, "Oh, the wall sucks. The wall sucks. You can't fish the wall." A lot of like it's sentiment I've heard is like, "Oh, you got to go at night. You got to fish it at night." So I've definitely heard that. It's a good point, dude. Fish bodies until I was able to go offshore. Then that's all I like to do. Yeah, unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm kind of in the same boat. Once I bought a boat and had the ability to go offshore, it was like that's pretty much all I want to do too. It's hard to go back into the bays, but even like last year, I was taking. I pretty much just went like well, I had my boat last year towards the end of the year, but even prior to that, I was still just going like La Jolla pretty much every time on my kayak. Like I still didn't like hit the bays all that much. But yeah, once I got my boat, it was like it I do find it harder because I'm like, oh, I could go out for this or I can go look for yellowtail or I can go definitely a different game. It's more of a definitely a high risk game because if you don't get anything, it's kind of sucks. But hey, you always got rockfish. Rockfish, I think, are like the easiest fish to catch in the world. Seems like any type of day, you can pull up some rockfish. At least I think so. It's like some fish, like when bass don't want to bite, they don't want like when spotties don't want to bite, it's hard to get them to bite. Same thing with like calicos, any of the bass, but for some reason it's like a lot of pelagics are like that too. But rockfish, even when it's slow, they'll still like you could usually still pull a few off, and they seem to eat a lot more than the other fish. I don't know if it's just like maybe food deficiency down there or something, or who knows. But rockfish are almost like a sure bet. Yeah, he did, Yoch. He showed me the. I know the fantail grouper spot. He took me right to it. We fished there. We didn't get any grouper, but yeah, he showed me exactly where he caught it. So will I remember? I could probably find. I know where we were. It's a pretty distinctive area, but I have to remember like which zone it was in. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with that place. I wasn't paying that much attention, but yeah, he did show me where it was. But I'm sworn to secrecy on that one. I know it was on the inside of the wall. Was it though? Was it on the inside? You guys might want to check your intel on that. Kayak accessible. Hey, I'm not giving away any of Lane's Brooktail secrets. I won't do him dirty like that. You guys can message him if you guys want the intel. But I'll just say yes, I've seen it. I know where it is. Have you got a bluefin tuna on your boat? No, I haven't. I haven't. I went out with Salty and Brian, but I didn't get any bluefin. We kind of saw them a little bit, but they weren't hungry or biting. Um, I've got four this year. I've landed four, all on sport boats though, but not this year. Mostly it's like so far it's been pretty much a night bite, and I don't take my boat out at night. I haven't been on at night, doing the deep drops. I think I'll have a shot once they start foaming, and they're boiling. We can get them with like surface jigs and stuff like that, either surface irons or the submission jigs. I think we'll be good to go. I definitely plan on getting one this year, but no, I have not pulled one over yet on my boat. I've only had I think a year this month maybe my boat, so we'll get on them. Same thing last year, man. We found foamers too. Me and Kevin got into foamers on my boat quite a few times, and we just couldn't get them. I could just suck at fishing too. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Uh, I want to fish rockfish, dude. Rockfish is so fun. Like, I seem like a lot of fishermen like don't like fishing. I love fishing rockfish. Rockfish is like, I think it's a blast. They're fairly easy to catch. They're good to eat. They don't really have like a fight. Maybe that's why a lot of people don't like them. Like, but if you hook into like some of the big ones, like we were getting into some of these 7 pounders, like they do fight and they pull drag. It's pretty fun. But if you catch in like these little dinky ass ones that a lot of like the sport boats would go to, that like, although they have been getting better. So the sport boats now that they have, I see them starting to fish in like 600 feet and deeper, where they used to stay really shallow and just hit the same zones and they had to be within the rock fishing area. It was hard to catch big rockfish, but now I'm starting to see them branch out and they're getting some big ones. So that's actually changed too. You don't have to go that far. I think if you get on a big sport boat, you'd be okay. Um, you can even find zones on the 9 mile bank. I think that's like 12, 14 miles out. You could still see land, so it's not like it's that crazy. I mean, when my rockfish spots are like you can't even see land like in any direction for miles. Like the ones that we're pulling up, like these real big giants, but you can still get decent fish and see land. A lot of these sport boats are getting on them too. The sport boats too, they're big. You don't really feel it. That might be the way to go. But yeah, dude, rockfish is a blast. I think rock fishing is underrated for sure. The wall is via Cabrillo, but it's quite a trek to fish the entire wall. You could probably fish the first half of it. Yeah, man, that thing is like, I don't know if you can walk that thing. Oh, I got some intel for you, Graham. We'll go over that. That is actually in my notes too. When the bluefin get close, are foaming. Let's set up. Yeah, dude, I'm down. I'm definitely down for that. I think they're here. It's definitely getting warmer. The last couple days, like it seems like we haven't had um, summer this whole year until like the last 2 days. At least up here, like I'm in Carlsbad, it's been like I don't think it's hit 70 degrees all year, but then the last 2 days, it's finally like starting to get close. It's like 77. It's actually like getting hot to go outside. I've had a sweater on all year until like 2 days ago. So hopefully that's going to push some of the warm water up. Of course, we know it's not really the air temperature too much that we worry about it. We got to get that current pushing in from the south water, pushing up the warm water from the equator. But hopefully that changes. I'm hopeful that it will. So, anyways, the Graham. So this is some intel, and I had this on my notes. So this is just a rumor, and I don't know if it's true. I can't validate it or anything. But we were at the docks and talking to some guys, some old guy. And he was saying this was in the same zone. So this was yesterday. We got back, and he said somebody pulled 3 Dorados off of a patty, and we were up in L.A. So I don't know where I don't know where they were. We didn't really specify, but rumor on the street was somebody pulled some dodos off of a patty, and if it was in fact up there that high north, that's pretty impressive. So I can't validate that. That's just what I heard. I thought it was interesting, but if that is real, that is a true rumor. That's really exciting stuff. I mean, because normal years is kind of the time when we're going to start to see them. Last year we saw them real early, but yeah, man, I hope the dodo bite just lights up this year. Yeah, 98, my house. That's damn. Where you live, Bullhead? You live in Bullhead City, dude. Yeah. Also, the wall you can go get rockfish. Actually, like I said, we were getting them on there. Cody and Drake smoking the smallmouth in Utah on the 15-gram jigs. Yeah, they were showing me some pictures, dude. That's awesome. They work for sure. They definitely work for the smallmouth stuff. Liberty caught a few. Oh, they got some dodos. Okay, so what was that, like a 2-day trip, multi-day trip, or was it closer? That's good. Yeah, it was like 77 here, but a lot of times I'm like overcast, like a lot of the time. But it's starting to get hot. Talked to my buddy today, bluefin outside of Carlsbad. Well, I guess I know what I'm doing tomorrow. That's awesome. Yeah, it might be changing. I think we're getting into that thing. That's why I'm hoping, man. Hoping submission at sea, we're gonna get on them. I think it's gonna be like kind of that perfect time. That gives us a few more weeks, let things heat up. Hopefully, it should be good. Be awesome if they're within that day range. Well, we know they're within day range, but getting them to bite and go crazy, that's awesome. Yeah, guys, I think that's all I got. Hopefully, you like my little report. Nothing too special. Just me fishing the wall, giving my thoughts on it. But I've never been out there. If you guys want to fish with me, fish with us, fish with these guys. Warbaits is going to be there. Submission at sea. Like I said, we got 9 tickets left out of the 30. If you want a shirt, get in there before the 20th because we got to send the order in to get the customized shirts. It's going to be a great trip. Full day on the Malahini. I'll probably have Captain Bill on here next week or two. He's always fun to talk to. He can tell us kind of what more we're looking for, what we're going to be up against. I know a lot of people want to know what we're fishing for, but it all depends what's out there. It's not like, oh, we're going for bluefin. It's whatever's going to bite, whatever we have the best chance at. That's definitely what we're going to do. That's a good report, though, dude. That's some dope right there. That's some fish dope. I heard about dodos. You got those. That's encouraging. So anyways, guys, thanks for joining. Thanks for all the support as usual. If you guys want jigs, submission jigs, you get them at any of the local tackle stores around here. Check them out. You go to Fishing Reps. He's got a tackle store finder. You can get them online, submissionfishing.com. If you want your submission at sea ticket, you get that online too. And yeah, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for spending an hour with me. Hopefully you guys get out there this weekend. All you guys on Fishing Spotty Bowl made the playoffs. Good luck to you. Congratulations too. That's a big accomplishment. Any tournament fishermen, good luck. If you guys are going out for bluefin, go get them. They're still here. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Oos.